The 24/7 monitoring they put in place, the WARDY put in place, gives us coverage around the clock that we just couldn't afford to do ourselves. My name's Jeff Peters. I'm the Manager for Information Systems at Brisbane Catholic Education. Work within the broader IT group, which is actually called Information Services. I have a team of about 25 staff. We look after the internal cloud, if you like, delivering enterprise solutions to 137 schools across the whole of the diocese. Our group looks after not only the education systems in the schools, but we look after the internal corporate systems, so HR, finance, payroll, a million different databases, tracking everything from mobile phones to vehicles to special funding programs for government. When I first joined Brisbane Catholic Education, came from the banking sector, I was told about the internal SQL DBA capability BCE had at the time. Peter Ward was in having a meeting with another manager here, and Peter was introduced to me as a provider of SQL services, and I may be interested in speaking to Peter about what his company could do. At that stage, being new, I was keen to explore what we could do with our own internal resources. Became clear fairly quickly that we were devoting too much time for doing low-level SQL tasks. We weren't monitoring SQL databases to a level that meant we could avoid outages. So yes, one end of the scale we had a lack of capability and expertise to do the low-level stuff, and then at the other end of the scale, when we had complex SQL issues, we were struggling to get resources to handle those issues for us. So I decided that I might follow up this Peter Ward chap. I did go to someone I knew at Microsoft at the time who led their SQL group and said who in Brisbane is good with SQL that we could call on. Peter was recommended. Engaged with Peter. We started out in the early days doing ad hoc support. The virtual DBA service at that stage was in its infancy, I understand. But the way it was presented, it was exactly what we needed. I was a little sceptical about whether or not they could deliver to the level that their glossy brochure said they could. But from day one, we weren't disappointed. And from my point of view, the thing that was particularly good about the service was the staff, the existing DBA staff, just embraced it. There was always a chance that they could have thought that this external vendor was going to be a threat to their role and possibly even in their jobs, but it hasn't been the case at all. The 24/7 monitoring they put in place, the WARDY put in place, gives us coverage around the clock that we just couldn't afford to do ourselves. Sometimes on the early days the monitoring was too good. I'd be getting phone calls at 2 o'clock in the morning saying we've got this alert, what do you want to do? We've trimmed that to now, I still get phoned about critical issues, but I know if I get a call at 2 o'clock in the morning we do have a serious issue. But it's always reassuring to know that we've got experts looking at it for us, and normally it's just I have to give approval for something to be done. They come with a plan. When they've got a problem, they detect a problem, they come with a plan to resolve it.